Is the end of rendering really the end? Or just the beginning of beautification? Ever wondered how to turn a good render into a piece of art? Want to make your render 5x more attractive, without re-rendering or remodeling? Behind every breathtaking image, there's a touch of precise editing. There's one simple secret that makes your render stand out: post-production. In this video, we're going to transform this image into this one using post-production in Photoshop. Hey everyone, welcome to my new video on the Architectural MD channel. So before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Let's start video. Alright, this is the scene I created. It's a simple one. We're going to use it to explore some basic concepts in post-production. The main light in the scene is this one, and I've only added it from this side to create some shadows. Now you'll see what happens. Now I switch to the camera view. I press Shift plus F to set the correct aspect ratio. Then I click on Render Setup. Since I want the render quality to be higher, I've set the resolution to 2K. In the Scene tab, I set denoising to Corona High Quality to reduce the noise. Now we get to the key part: render elements. Here, we're going to add some elements that will help us during post-production. Click on Add, Cell OK. I added several important ones. Direct shows the base texture of each material with more clarity and detail. Reflect highlights the shiny, reflective areas. Material ID, super helpful for selecting specific materials in Photoshop. Light Select lets us isolate individual lights. I used it for the two halogens here. Just click plus to pick the lights. Shadows shows shadow intensity more clearly. And then there's Ctexmap, which is very important. I added 3 of them with Corona AO applied. The first one, max distance equals 1. Calculate from equals outside the second one. Max distance equals 1. But this time set to inside plus outside the third one. Max distance equals 10. Set to outside. Alright. Now I'll start the render so I can show you what each of these elements looks like in the final image. Let's wait for the render to complete a bit, and then we'll continue. Alpha is included by default. Direct only highlights the mosaic texture. It looks sharp and detailed. Reflect is mostly dark here because there aren't many shiny surfaces, but you can still see some reflection on the mosaic in the halogen trim. Material ID is super helpful for selection, and I'll show you how it works later. Light Select shows the 2 halogens we isolated. Shadows clearly indicates where the darker shadows fall. The last 3 are Ctexmap passes. They outline the edges of the objects beautifully. In this Ctex pass, some parts are ruining the look. I'll show you exactly which ones and explain the best fix. Alright, now I want to enable denoising to clean up the noise in the images. All you have to do is click stop once. Now we can see that denoising has been applied. I'll wait a bit for the render to complete, then continue with the video. Now, to export all these images to my computer, I use the Save All option. Since I've already done it before, I'll just show you the process. Choose a name, pick your desired format, in my case, I selected JPG, then save. All your render elements will be saved at once. Let's head into Photoshop. To load all the images into Photoshop, go to the File menu, choose Scripts, then click on Load Files into Stack, click Browse. Navigate to the folder where you saved the images, and select them all. They'll be arranged in order, just press OK. The layers will be imported at the size they were saved. Alright, the first thing I always do is duplicate the main image by pressing Ctrl+J. I place one copy at the top of the layer stack and one at the bottom, for comparison later. Now I turn off all layers except for the bottom one. Time to start post-production. I press Ctrl+0 to fit the image to screen. I turn on the first Ctext layer. And from the blending mode, I set it to multiply. You can instantly see the difference. Notice the effect as I toggle the layer visibility on and off. But the effect is too strong, so I reduce the opacity to around 50%. The next Ctext layer. I also set it to multiply. But this time, I lower the opacity even more than the previous one. 30% feels just right. We'll come back to this layer later. I'll show you exactly what we're going to do with it. Now for the shadows layer. I set its blending mode to soft light and again reduce the opacity to tone it down. Next is the light select layer. Make sure the correct layer is selected. This part's important. I'm thinking between screen or color dodge mode. Let's go with color dodge for now. As you can see, the highlights are a bit too intense, so I'll lower the opacity to balance it out. I'll move the image a bit to the side in case we need to zoom in later. I'll move the material ID layer to the top for now. Now for the reflect layer. Screen mode works best for this one. Again, I'll slightly lower the opacity to keep it subtle. Now for the direct pass. I only want to use the ceramic part here. So I go to the Material ID layer, and using the Magic Wand tool, I select the ceramic area like this. Then, I turn off the selection layer and make sure the direct layer is active. Now I click the mask button at the bottom. See? Now only the ceramic is active in the direct layer. Which blending mode works here? I'd say soft light, and again I'll bring the opacity down a little. That works well. Now remember that leftover Ctex layer? I only wanted to affect the wall carving, molding. So I go back to the Material ID layer. Select that part. Then select the Ctex layer and hit Mask. Then I set it to multiply and reduce its opacity just a bit. Let's do a quick before and after comparison to see what's changed. You can clearly see the difference. It looks so much better already. But we still have one more important step. Let's add an adjustment layer for curves. I want to apply this to the base render layer. Here's how I set it. 1 point in the center, 2 more points. 1 in the highlights, 1 in the shadows. This gives it a nice S-curve, enhancing contrast. Now I notice the halogen lights got too bright. Let's switch that layer to screen mode to soften them. The ceramic layer is also a bit too strong. Let's drop its opacity to around 60%. That looks better. Now I'll create a new layer above everything. Using the brush tool, I'll add a light glow around the halogen bulbs. Let's pick a nice soft brush. This one looks good. I'll zoom in and make the brush smaller. And just like that, we get a beautiful glowing effect. Press Ctrl+0 to fit the image again. Let's do one more before and after comparison. You judge it yourself, but I'd say the image really came to life. One small change left. The shadows layer still feels a bit too weak, so I'll increase the opacity slightly. There, that's much better. Let's zoom in on the wall carving now, so you can really see the quality of the detail. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this kind of content, let me know in the comments so I can make more detailed tutorials like this. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until the next video, goodbye.